What's up, guys? Welcome to another Mark Hachem video. So, from protest to COVID lockdown and economic crisis, back to protests. My God, 2020? Yeah, we didn't just come out of lockdown, we burst out of it. And it's clear that the Black Lives Matter movement, while getting reinvigorated, also sparked not only worldwide support, but other movements and protests in their own rights. Good. Meanwhile, protests around the world, like the Lebanese protests, are not over. It's also an economic crisis now. Obviously, the pandemic isn't over, and I still call for precaution. God protect you. We're fighting racism and corruption. We're also fighting to eat right now in Lebanon. Check out my video in 2019 for a little intro. Right now, this is the situation. It's terrible. Inflation has gone to another level now, with $1 having gone to about 7,000 to 7,500 pounds. To give you perspective, before the 1975 Civil War, $1 was worth about 3 pounds. 3! During the war, it went to 2,500 pounds. Please digest that for a moment, or try to. And then it fixed itself around 1,500 for a long while. Until recently. Lebanon's been fighting for justice and against corrupt politicians for a while, but more intensely, specifically, since late 2019. And it was kind of put on hold because of, COVID and quarantine, but don't think the fight's over. Now they have an even bigger reason to rise up, because economic collapse and starvation are now on the list. Besides massive inflation, Lebanon has been dealing with electricity shortages, poisoned environment, a stagnant economy, a garbage crisis since 2015, which the authorities thought would be resolved by dumping all the trash in the sea. You have anything else you want to add, Mark? Yes. Insane public debt at more than 150% of its GDP. Yeah, you can see why people are just a little pissed. We need a whole reset. And that includes the entire government, a completely different way to run the country, to live in the country, a whole new Lebanon. A whole new Lebanon. Did you just throw sarcastic comedy in the middle of a crisis situation? Yes, I'm Lebanese. It's in my blood. But seriously, I saw videos sent to me by family members waiting in line or gathered at a local church outside, just praying while food is getting distributed. A beautiful country like Lebanon with amazing people doesn't deserve this. What happened? Well, it depends how far back you want to go, but we can go back to an old dysfunctional political system, the Ta'if Agreement. The sectarian system where political authority is allocated based on religious affiliation, exploited by the politicians, and of course, general government incompetence and mismanagement. More recently, though, it began after the government proposed to tax WhatsApp calls. That went well. Local calls are already among the highest in the Middle East. What's next? You're gonna tax me when I open my mouth? But to go back to Lebanon's currency, it's kind of complicated, because it's a pegged currency as opposed to a floating currency, meaning it's tied to another more stable currency to protect its economy from fluctuations that are affected by supply and demand. Whereas countries with floating currencies go with those fluctuations. They go with the flow, Now, Lebanon's currency is tied to the US dollar to keep it stable, right? Sure, but then mounting debt led to a dollar shortage in late 2019. So you're out of US dollars, which you need for your pegged economy and businesses. Beautiful. Imagine you put your savings in the bank and now it's gone, or you can't withdraw. That's what they've been dealing with. So can't get US dollars to buy stuff or use for business? So let's go exchange some US dollars from the black market. But that only gets worse because it makes the US dollar even more expensive because it's already in shortage. Meanwhile, hundreds and hundreds of businesses are forced to close. And the government tries a few failed cute attempts at proposals, including a pay cut to the ministers and MPs, who are still worth tens of millions each. I can feel the compassion. Along with other proposals like increased taxes here and there. Sure, why not? So what happens? People lose it. Of course they're gonna lose it. Protests unleashed, Prime Minister resigns. The Thawra. What a beautiful thing. It's rebirth. Little interesting fact, the protests have been generally non-sectarian, totally grassroots, united in their cause for their civil rights and against total government corruption and its old dysfunctional sectarian system, and its cronyism, picking people based on personal preferences as opposed to qualifications. Friend, brother, religious ally, son-in-law, But of course, what you fight for doesn't come easy. Who are you? Hello, I'm COVID. I'm here to ruin your economy and mental health. To traumatize and confuse you, force you to stay home, trigger hundreds of conspiracy theories, but also reduce pollution and expose flawed healthcare systems around the world, and be followed by mass protests for equality. I have so many questions. So COVID arrives. Lockdown, everyone home, economy's not getting better, debt's at 170% now. New Prime Minister Hassan Diab announced the country is gonna default. Basically, Lebanon goes bankrupt, can't pay its debts. More businesses close down, and people are stuck home. Kinda hard to protest, but people still have been protesting occasionally, especially more recently, resonating with the Black Lives Matter, especially highlighting the kafele problem in the Middle East, including Lebanon. Kafele means to guarantee or to take care of in Arabic. Now, under that system, a migrant worker's immigration status is legally bound to an individual employer or sponsor, el-kafil, during the contract period. So the migrant worker can't enter the country, transfer job, or leave the country for any reason without first getting explicit written permission from the employer. So there's so much abuse of labor rights for immigration workers. But Lebanese have been protesting this as well. Good. Put everything together, and now Lebanon's fight is even bigger. In fact, everyone around the world is waking up in the name of justice. It's a hell of a challenging time we're in. Everywhere. It's like a major worldwide storm. But we just need a little faith. Whether it's COVID or movements for equality like Black Lives Matter and Pride Month, whether it's against corruption, we're all in this together. Thanks for watching another Mark Hachem video. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, and subscribe for more culture and education. And check out my Patreon if you want to support. Take care.